On this week's episode of Friend Code, Terry finally joined Smash, and we're going to share our thoughts on Luigi's Mansion 3. Welcome to a new episode of Friend Code. I'm your host, Michael Damiani. This week, I'm joined by special guest Ash Paulsen.
Hello there again. Thank you so much, as always, for having me back. I love it here.
Always a pleasure. And Michael Huber.
Yo.
How's it going, Huber?
Well.
This will end eventually.
Just don't.
Just don't
even go there.
Baseball joke, baseball reference right there for those of you who didn't get that. But yeah, welcome to our new installment of Friend Code for this week. We've got a little bit of news to talk about, and then we're going to dive into some discussion about Terry joining Smash, the fourth fighter from the Fighter Pass, finally making their appearance, and a little bit about Luigi's Mansion later on. Third game. It's the third one, right? It says 300. There's Dark Moon in the original. There wasn't a fourth one somewhere, was there? Luigi's Mansion 3 just hit Switch recently, just in time for Halloween.
Yeah.
Huber loves
a
drop on Halloween like that. It's a good date for that. Mm-hmm. And then we got some questions from patrons that we'll be getting to. Some quick flash news. So run through these really quick.
Direct style.
Feel free to say whatever you want. If you just want, kind of like Kyle style, if you're like, want to pass, just to say nothing or just say move on, you know. Just Dance 2020 recently came out, and in the United Kingdom, the Wii version outsold the PS4 and Xbox One versions. Switch ended up being number one, making up like 55% of the sales, I believe, but I think 21% of it was brought up by Wii, and it's like,
that makes sense because of motion controls, I feel like.
Yeah, I mean, the Wii just keeps on trucking. To me, the funniest angle of that story is that's the last middle finger to the Wii U. Because it's the one, and I mean, and it had its merits, but the one platform this game didn't release for, Wii U.
Which is funny because it's backwards compatible anyway.
It's awful. So I just I love the Wii U for what it was, but it is one final oh man, poor Wii U.
Slap in the face.
It really is. Ouch.
Poor Wii U.
It's my least favorite console of all time.
Yeah. Oh, ouch. Yikes.
It's like I like it for its virtual console stuff, but even the Wii virtual console stuff, it was a better draw.
Yeah.
I just wish DS games could have ended up on Wii as well instead of just Wii U, like the virtual console. But I mean, good stuff.
Yeah.
Virtual console stuff, miss it. There was a recent Nintendo financial update for their recent quarter, and as always with those, they do an investor Q&A. A lot of questions, a lot of answers came out of it, but there's two in particular I want to focus on because these topics get asked a lot about from fans, consumers. I see these come up a lot. The first question, basically, Shintaro Furukawa, current president of Nintendo, NCL, basically had this to say about remakes and revisiting handheld 3DS games basically and bringing them to the Switch because I know that gets a lot of flack from people. And he basically had to say Nintendo says that while they think nostalgia can be appealing in regards to revisiting old games, like Link's Awakening is what prompted this.
Sure.
They feel it's more important to focus on new experiences. So I feel like this is kind of in line with Nintendo. Every now and then we get a remake, remaster, some kind of update. They're not too frequent. And they always sell them as like a stand. They make a bit of an event out of it, but generally they tend to always focus on newer updates, newer sequels to a series rather than revisiting them.
Right. Which, I mean, I can't disagree with Furukawa. I mean, he's right that they should be, their eyes should be forward. They should be focusing on new experiences. However, Kid Icarus Uprising. That's really they can give me all the new experiences they want. Just give me that game again on Switch. That's really all you want. That's all I want.
There definitely are games that I think each of us and a lot of people feel are deserving of that treatment. Like Kid Icarus Uprising is definitely one of those. We're seeing next year Xenoblade Chronicles.
Oh yeah.
I will swear by that game, how great it is. Got some buzz when it came out on the Wii in North America. We got it last year. It took a little bit of extra effort to get it to come out here.
Operation Rainfall, I think it was called. Yeah,
and some GameStop backing at the time.
That's right.
It was a GameStop
I forgot about
exclusive.
that.
Yeah. But, not everyone got to experience it. Now it's a bigger deal. Smash Brothers, Shulk being in there. It's like, Xenoblade Chronicles 2 and X have come out since. People are like, hey, the original one. They did put it on 3DS,
They did,
3DS.
Which
new
was
3DS.
it was a good port, but it was exactly what you'd expect in terms of being hamstrung, being on a portable. But it's still a great. The fact they even got that game, the game of that immense size,
that game's
on
massive.
the 3DS at all. I mean, props.
It's like Xenoblade Chronicles 2 does look very good on Switch, and seeing them not only overhaul the visual style, because that was probably like the hardest thing about the Wii versions, the aging of the visuals. It was a technical showcase in terms of like what they could do with the wide open environments, but like faces of the characters got a lot of criticism. Some of like the textures and environments. Now we're getting its overhaul. The trailer made it look pretty, like, I love the faces, how they looked in the new trailer.
Oh, yeah. No, and I was so happy to hear that they seem to be using the same voice track. Do not touch that voice acting monolith. It's perfect the way it is.
I need my Ryan time. Like, you better, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
And bunch of jokers, like, don't change any of that.
Oh, yeah. And like Shulk, his scream gives me goosebumps. He is the best screamer. He's just blood curdling. Awesome. He's such a, oh man, don't change a voice track.
Awesome.
Do not change
it. And
it.
of course, the best part about it is in the trailer, they were, obviously, for people who could catch it with the trained eye, cut content, making it
that was so
the
cool.
shoulder of Bionis, making it in there. It's like, woo,
that's really cool.
Here we go. And
I love stuff like that.
Apparently, it's a sizable area. So yes, I like it when they make an event out of that. Nice. But at the same time, honestly, if you ask me between Xenoblade Chronicles Remastered or Xenoblade Chronicles 3, it's like, probably want 3 more than remastered.
All right.
Because the game exists already, and like you can get it on Wii and or 3DS, and there's nothing stopping them from re-releasing it at some point as like a digital title on Switch as is.
That's true.
I don't feel like they need to go to all the effort to remaster it. Versus if that would ever take away from, say, Xenoblade Chronicles 3.
I think where I'm coming from on that is that Xenoblade Chronicles 2, I didn't like it as much. It's a good game, but it didn't quite land with me like 1 did, and even the environments, it's a beautiful game. The world design's great, but it never quite reached the heights of Xenoblade 1 for me. And so for me, I want to see the Bionis and all that. I want to see all those areas in HD with new textures. That's where I'm coming from.
I guess, maybe they could learn some lessons from 2 and see what they could do from that. I mean, even the hearing the number 3 gives me the chance. Maybe they'll revisit Shulk. Maybe we'll see. What happened with him post ending and stuff.
I think
the
main thing for me is just like, don't reuse the battle system from 2. That was what kind of killed the game for me. I liked the rest of it. Really liked.
Do you think they'll make changes to it?
From 1 to 2,
system?
they sure did. They completely overhauled
for this remaster.
Well, it's one that's getting the remaster.
Yeah. Do you think they'll mess with the battle system at all?
No, I hope they don't.
I like that battle
system
a lot. Yeah, I don't think they need to do that. There's probably small. I mean, they did pretty good job with the quality of life in that game, from being able to change the time at any point. Because we're in the stream we did before this recording, Huber, we're talking about Majora's Mask and characters coming to life because they're on the schedule. And Xenoblade Chronicles is kind of like one of the kings of that. Every NPC operating on a schedule where quests can only be completed and undertaken at certain times.
Cool.
But you can, at any moment, jump to that time, like
which
absolute control.
Yeah.
Like it was perfect. Like the fast travel system was perfect. It was, you need to have earned that marker to teleport to it. Like, so explore this area first, and then you can now fast travel back to it. Love that.
And it was so like non-punitive too. Like you were encouraged to explore because you knew that if you got waylaid by a level 80 monster, you start like right there.
Yes.
It's not like you lose progress, which is so key. Because it makes you not afraid to explore.
You're getting another chance to play it if you've missed out. This is your 3rd chance, so please give it a chance this time.
Yes.
Going along with what else Furukawa said in this Q&A session, about bringing some of their portable experiences to Switch. Probably most notably, when are some of those 3DS games going to start coming to Switch? And their response was, while they've considered revisiting several portable titles for the Switch, they're more interested in making new games. So this one is where I'm a little bit more torn. Because, yes, these games do exist on 3DS. There is a way to play them. Like, literally what I just said before with, like, Xenoblade Chronicles and other games. The difference is here that you do need a specific system to play them for. And, like, they're both handheld. And I bought a Switch because it was meant for me to replace my 3DS.
Exactly.
At this point, it is the replacement. And when I saw like Luigi's Mansion on 3DS, that's a specific one. I don't understand why that isn't on Switch. Like the remake for
the
3DS.
remake of 1.
Yeah, the remake of 1 for 3DS.
Right.
That one boggled my mind and left me a little frustrated. And I'm like, really? You're not going to put this on Switch? And there are several titles that like I just have not got into that are only on 3DS that if they were to put them on Switch like that, I would jump on them at this point.
I mean, even something like Mario Party: The Top 100 obviously wasn't popular. It came and went, but it would have been so much. I think it would have done way better.
I remember when that came out on
Switch.
3DS.
Why would you ever release that on 3DS? The top 100 Mario Party games from across the series for the system that is all about playing together? It's a slam dunk. Why?
Yep. That's a big one.
This kind of goes also hand in hand with the previous statement they just gave, but there are other, like specifically like Ocarina of Time 3D, Majora's Mask 3D.
Right.
I would take those games just like like at 720.
Me too.
And on the Switch, just a way to play them on the Switch. And I understand it takes a little bit more retooling because they did use the touchscreen and everything like that, but there has to be a way for them to like make
it do something.
Yeah,
especially if you're playing on
like
handheld mode. Yeah.
Yeah, it's like the best of both right here. And I get it. Like Nintendo does seem to like to do a full price remake of a game when they're doing it. So like Luigi's Mansion on 3DS was like what, $39.99 or something around that, like $40 roughly when it came out. I feel more confident Nintendo would probably bring it out on Switch in the future for $60, but like doing a little bit more of a touch-up job to it. Like that's more valuable to them than bringing over a $40 version of it. Like, hey, for $40 you could also get it on the Switch. And it's like, that's what I want. I want those like middle tier games on Switch that were like that could be like 3DS ports, even like, you know, Wii ports, GameCube ports, something like that on
Wii
Switch.
U ports.
And Wii U ports.
That's why it's so great we're getting Tokyo Mirage Session, like Encore. That's great. And you know, as you were saying, it would be great to be able to play Ocarina and Majora blown up on the big screen, you know, at that new the new visuals. Also, Wind Waker HD and Twilight Princess HD, they're landlocked to Wii U, and that's huge.
Yeah.
We gotta get those on Switch.
I feel like Nintendo knows this, though, and they're just gonna slowly trickle these ones out.
It's like the Disney Vault.
It really
They got the Nintendo Vault.
It's the closest comparison is the Nintendo back catalog. It is like the Disney Vault.
And I love how as soon as they release a Super Nintendo app, they backpedaled on doing new games every month. So now they're just like, you're gonna get them when you get them, but we're not committing anymore because they know people, you know, NES games great. People really want the SNES stuff, and that's why they're going to make us wait for it.
I feel like some of the third party, I think that also has a bit to do with the third party publishers seeing the value they get when they release either bundles or individual games on the digitally, like the Castlevania collection that came out. It's like, why would we ever put our games on your virtual console, or sorry, the NES or SNES library when we could sell it individually, like you know, make so much more money off of this?
Like that's why, like, so, you know, sometimes I'll get asked on Twitter, do you think, you know, is Chrono Trigger going to be added? Hell no, it's not. This is Square Enix. They're going to charge you
$60,
30, 40, $60 for a port of the Steam version, and you're going to like it. That's all. They are never going to give that away. Never ever.
Yeah, like it was recently the original 3 Dragon Quest games.
Right.
Like that same thing. It's like, those could have easily been on the like NES service, but no.
It's never
not
exactly.
happening. But but in general philosophy I do agree with them that like newer experiences tend to go over better.
I think of like A Link Between Worlds and 3D Land, and I just think what they made instead of porting those over, you know, they're like, I feel like a Link's Awakening, you know, maybe they had the chance to do a Link Between Worlds port, and they just decided to do Link's Awakening instead.
Yeah.
You know, I feel like that's a similar kind of remake, you know, if they were to kind of remake.
It feels similar in a general sense. Yeah, I know what you mean. Less vertical. Yeah.
I mean, I always also personally believe that The Link's Awakening started out as a 3DS game and was ported to Switch. That's my theory. One day maybe I'll be able to ask about that and maybe answer it someday. But, you know, that would also maybe potentially explain some of the frame rate issues. You know, they couldn't fully get it running on.
Did that ever get patched out? Or
no.
And there's probably no reason because dude, look what games have had performance issues of some kind from Nintendo, and they just don't patch it. Fire Emblem Three Houses, still no patch to address, running around at Garrick Mach and like all the frame rate issues of your gear. And they're like, I would say it's even worse in Fire Emblem in that area than anything in Link's Awakening, in my opinion.
Yeah.
I think the only one that eventually did Huber was Breath of the Wild.
Right.
They did adjust that.
Well, and Fire Emblem is its own case anyway, because that wasn't developed in-house.
Yep.
Like, I was eating major crow on this because I kept assuring, Game Explained fans when we were previewing Link's Awakening, like, dude, this is Nintendo. They always release super polished, like it's going to be fine by release.
Yeah,
and I really truly believe that.
Totally.
I think justifiably. I was shocked when it released.
Yeah.
And again, it doesn't ruin the game, anything like that. But it's surprisingly consistent and there.
That was not just Intelligent Systems Core working on it. It was Koei Tecmo was doing some work on that as well. And, who knows what caused that and stuff. But you're right. You're right.
So
like,
strange.
I would never have thought, like, I was like, oh no, like Intelligent Systems, they'll get it right. It's
Ever since, it just took one time. Ever since the Silent Hill remaster was like missing part of the code or something.
Yeah.
Whatever that was, that has always led me to believe like any game can just be like for example, Link's Awakening, right? It's like, are they just like, are they missing some of the code? Like, are they gonna find code somewhere and then like patch it in? Like, every game feels like when there's weird problems like that, like there's something weird happened. Like something was messed.
Like even like Final Fantasy VIII Remaster, where they like, where was it in their old like re-releases? It's like, whoa, we lost the. Here we go. And but then there's some technical issues there as well. Even like what you were saying with like like Silent Hill, like missing code and stuff like that. Whereas like Link's Awakening, I think the other part of it, is that there is a perfectly still, despite what Nintendo has said about it, go to your 3DS eShop, download that Link's Awakening DX. It is there for a very nominal fee. And it's like, it's not that hard to technically find right now. I mean, as time goes on, it will be if they never re-release it. But at the moment, it's not that hard to get. Hard. But yeah, you're to your point, Huber, you're absolutely right. Yes. But yeah,
go down.
we will see. I don't expect it'll be too much longer. We got the Game Awards coming up in just about a month. Maybe get some more Nintendo announcements. Maybe we'll hear about some of the, there's still rumored stuff like the Metroid Prime HD collection.
That's coming at some point.
Yeah, at some point.
That's coming.
There's always going to be more Nintendo remasters
Same with
and
that,
collections.
Legends 3, dude. It's coming.
I wish.
Huber,
I wish. You can't stop doing this to me, man.
If you don't know this,
It's
viewers,
coming.
Huber just today, did his now famous will things into existence thing, where he says something's going to happen. He has now proclaimed Mega Man Legends 3 is a sure thing will happen.
It's gonna not
Breaks my
today,
heart.
not tomorrow, not
do this.
maybe not this year, but like.
And I've already told you I will put $100 down right now.
No money needed.
And believe me, I want it more than anything, but I just truly do not believe it's in the cards.
The funny thing is that I've never even really played Mega Man Legends. This is just something I truly believe in my heart.
I hope.
And soul is that Mega Man Legends will rise again. What if it's not 3, but it's like a reboot of Mega Man Legends?
I don't want to wait all that time to get Trigger off the moon just for a reboot. I want to get him off the moon. Maybe remaster the first 2 games, get people back into it for a new audience, then go
remaster, dude. Yeah, if we're talking remaster, anything
or port.
Like Mega Man Legends will rise.
Yeah.
Okay, Mega Man Legends will rise.
Man,
Huber's prediction.
I hope
really
so.
believe it.
Speaking of Mega Man, our next topic is Mega Man 11, which Capcom announced is a newly joined member of the 1 million seller club. Hit that milestone recently, and I know you got stuff to say about this, Ash.
I'm just thrilled because not only that, we found out that all the collections did really well on Switch and everything, and they're just very happy with sales in general. And it just feels so great to be on the other side of that drought, that 8 year. Like I've never felt more confident, in modern times that Mega Man's back. Like I don't think there's any chance that he's gonna go disappear again, only be in Smash. Like million sellers, that speaks for itself. Yeah. And we already know Kazuhiro Tsuchiya, the producer on Mega Man 11, he said he's working on the next big Mega Man game. Please stay tuned. And I'm thinking we might hear about that, and I think it's X9. We might hear about that in the Rockman anniversary stream in December.
Oh, yeah.
That's where we got 11.
Yeah, because yep. Perfect.
Right. I think in X9, man. I hope.
This is like my favorite thing ever, right? So you have Mega Man 11, which is like new and awesome for the fans. Like you seem like I don't know. You seem like
a giant
you
Mega
seem
Man
like
fan.
okay.
Yeah, huge.
So okay. you have 11 for the fans, which is amazing, and then you also have the collections to get everyone involved, everyone on board.
Yeah.
Like, if you've missed some of the Mega Mans, whatever, and even also for fans, too. Like, oh, cool, new collection. Like, easily packages them all in one place. Like,
Yeah.
it's the best of both worlds. I love stories like this.
Unfortunately, that also means that X5 and X5 through X7 got re-released. Maybe XX and X7. And that's never a good thing for anybody, but at least they're there for posterity to see just how bad
Everyone's got to learn the history
series
lesson.
got. That's true.
Can't forget
Yeah.
the past there. But I will say this: I think I'll be more excited for an X9 than I was for 11. I was very happy and enthusiastic for 11 and Mega Man's resurgence because it's been like, hey, it's been a decade. I was there for the 9 and 10 resurgence, and that was a good feeling, and I was really caught up in that.
10?
What?
10's great.
Okay.
Better than 9 in my opinion.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay, I always hear like 9
Maybe
is really
too
cool and then
hard?
10 is weird.
I hear
people
difficult
say 9's
complaints.
too hard.
Yeah, like
Yeah.
one or the other. I think they're both fine.
I think they're not hard.
Yeah, because
Yeah.
I remember when 9 came out, I loved 9.
9's great, and I
Yeah,
think
11,
10 is even
11
better.
did the per thing, scalable difficulties with the settings. Like,
Yeah.
you can turn it on like really easy if you just want to enjoy it, or,
Right.
want a really big challenge. There you go. Like, perfect.
But no, I hear you. Like, it's obviously I was so over the moon for 11, so happy because Mega Man was back. Finally, a modern game. He looks great. But X is my favorite character of all time. Like, period. X is it for me.
I'm excited.
I can't. I just need him. I need him back in his own new game. I need it.
I'm very excited for the possibilities with that.
Dude, X will rise.
Hell yeah.
X will rise.
X will
With
rise.
like X, and, they'll all rise together in
Yes.
like one big announcement.
In something other than Marvel vs. Capcom Infinite.
Yes,
Yeah.
please. Last week, we finally got the release of Terry Bogard for Super Smash Bros. Ultimate, the 4th announced guest fighter as part of the pass for the first year.
There's one more
There's one
coming?
more character.
Mystery character?
Has not been revealed yet. I mean, all bets are safe bet is that the Game Awards will probably be that, because that's where Joker was announced last year as the first character.
And it's where Keely's going to be.
And the final character was promised to be out by next February, and we're already in the middle of November, so you've got only so much time and so many events left. So
And they've hit every milestone so far.
Oh,
every character thus far has come out on time. I have no doubt.
What if it's X?
Oh my! Well, I mean that would be amazing, but I personally, honestly, don't think we need both Mega Man and X in the roster. Like, if we have anybody representing Mega Man in Smash, it's got to be Mega Man. Like, that's in my opinion. But I mean, X would be awesome. I'm still not going to say I'd turn it down.
So they did they announced a 45-minute video presentation last week for Terry.
Oh, yeah.
Which sounded insane. It was like 45 minutes.
Yeah.
And I thought maybe it was going to use the trick of last time, where some of that time would be dedicated to the Mii costumes, which we got the shadow drop of Sans, and Undertale getting its soundtrack included in Super Smash Bros. Ultimate. It's like, wait, what?
Yeah.
This Toby Fox is getting involved in Smash Bros. Whoa, this is a big deal. Like, big announcement embedded in that. This was they did have Mii announcements, but it was all kind of in the SNK lineup there.
Right.
This was all Terry. This is all Terry and SNK's history here, and this felt like Sakurai doing his best sales pitch to people. If you are not aware of these series, this is why it matters, and this is why you need to be excited about this character. And I think he succeeded wildly, and like, they did a fantastic job not only with the character. I've had some hands-on with it as well, but the stage and like the amount of attention to detail that once again, the showmanship from Sakurai here, and just like demonstrating like true master of his craft and just like respecting the heritage of these series. Just phenomenal.
100%.
Phenomenal.
It's so important. And
blown away.
And so awesome, like the history of anything in the industry, but like Neo Geo and like SNK, all that stuff felt, as a kid growing up in that time, all of it felt out of reach.
It did to me as well.
It felt mythical. It was like either in the arcade or I didn't know anyone in my life who had a Neo Geo at home because it was so expensive. That was always the joke with my brother and I. Was like, it's $1,000. Like, whoa. We would like laugh in the store. And it's just like, this is a way to kind of curate that little piece of history. It's awesome.
Yeah, and I'm so glad he did, because not only obviously Sakurai puts all of his love into every new character. He's amazing at it. I mean, look at Banjo-Kazooie, but this felt different for him. This felt special. Like, it felt like he was truly doing something he'd always wanted to do. He clearly has a lot of passion for the SNK brand, for Fatal Fury, King of Fighters, Neo Geo, all of that. And this felt like him doing something not for the fans, but for himself. And I really like that. Not everything has to be for the fans. And we don't deserve him anyway. Like, it is high time he do something for himself, and you could see the passion come through in the presentation.
Do you think it was like one of his number one most wanted?
Potentially.
Did you ever talk about that?
I mean,
it felt like it, yeah.
Yeah.
Because if you're not familiar with Sakurai's history, like his beginnings, one of the things he observed, like while deciding to dedicate his craft to becoming a game designer, because that wasn't originally what he wanted to do, always had a lot of rich history with like early fighting games, and like was analyzing like why they weren't selling so well. Like they did well in arcades, but home console versions never seemed to they never really able to crack that. And when he originally was tasked with like when he started working on Smash Brothers, it's like, why, what are the problems that, and like analyzing like the characters you select, like how it can be intimidating, these strangers you never heard of, like why don't we use mascots? Like everyone knows Mario, everyone, like if we use these famous characters,
right,
we overcome that hurdle. Like just to get into the mind, if you read like the lots of like interviews and documents out there about like like those papers out there about his design philosophies and history, it's just like kind of a mind of a genius there. And like spends a lot of time doing his homework and research, but I feel like this like SNK's history and their fighting history is right up there. Because I think like Street Fighter and like King of Fighters and Fatal Fury are probably series that like he was doing research with and playing as he was growing up in like college and like into his early years in Nintendo at the end of the 80s, early 90s. Like this feels like, yes, it was very personal to him.
So pretty much we at this point we just need a Soul Calibur character and a Mortal Kombat character.
Okay.
And we mostly, obviously there's a couple omissions. I'm sorry if I omitted your fighting franchise, but like as far as the biggest fighting franchises of all time, like you get those two in there.
You missed Rival Schools.
Rival Schools, Blaze Blue.
I mean, there's a ton of fighting game series that could use representation in Smash Brothers, but I think to jump ahead a little bit about like what people would want to see, the Mortal Kombat one, like you see that the calls for that. There have been some rumors, but the fact it would mark the first, if any Mortal Kombat character were to be included in Smash Brothers, it would officially mark the first time of Street Fighter versus Mortal Kombat. And it, like we thought about Mario and Sonic being a big deal in Smash Brothers, them fighting against each other, and then adding in like all these extra characters and third parties. Like I think that's like one of the last like mythical, unicorns
like
out there. Like it will never happen. Yeah, like Sub-Zero versus something like that. So it's like, when is this can't happen? This is impossible. But this series is proving it can be possible in a different context.
I think the one other character who would be like that, holy crap, how did this happen? And this would be Sora.
Yeah,
like Sora, of course. I
Kingdom
thought,
Hearts
I thought it was
Smash.
going to happen already.
Yeah, and I still think it. I still hope. I think it might. He's like my last Golden Goose character.
Me too.
But that would be. Can you imagine? Like, especially if he came with like Donald and Goofy in his final Smash.
So perfect.
That would be crazy.
Everything about Sora coming to Smash takes it to like the game is already mythical in my eyes.
Yeah.
It takes it to like unheard of realms.
It does,
because Sora, like you said though, Sora brings Mickey and Donald and Goofy most likely.
Well, and even if he didn't, that'd be fine. Like, I'm one of those people who thinks the best parts of Kingdom Hearts are the parts that have nothing to do with Disney, other than Donald and Goofy and like Mickey. So I'd be, even comes on his own, fine.
Yeah.
With or without Donald and Goofy.
Can you imagine that stage too? What would they do?
I can't even. Twilight
Insanity
Town,
there,
Healy Graveyard, Traverse Town.
There.
They can do it all.
I think they'd probably stay away from
Mickey's Castle.
too many Disney themed stuff.
I doubt it.
Because of that.
Yeah.
They'd probably keep something that was more like originally designed for the game, like Hollow Bastion, like you said, Traverse
Healy
Town,
Graveyard
Twilight.
would be pretty cool,
Healy Graveyard could be the easy one.
For sure.
Which two songs do we get?
Oh dear.
Dearly
Across the whole
No,
franchise.
you're not getting Dearly Beloved or
No, that's not happening.
You will probably get sorry, not Dearly. You could Dearly Beloved. Yes, I'm so Simple and Clean and
we're not getting those.
Sanctuary you will not get, and then the new song for 3. You won't get any of the licensed stuff. Dearly Beloved probably, but like it'd probably be a remix of some kind. It has to be upbeat.
There'll be a bunch of battle themes. Well, I'd like to do
Oh
a bunch of battle themes, but two songs.
The D song, Destaria, the Organization 13 fight song that everyone loves, and I'm forgetting.
Is it Destati or
I just don't remember how to say it. That's perfect.
Yeah,
I think that would be like a great theme to have right there. But it would be probably 1 or 2 songs. Yeah, I know you're referencing Final Fantasy VII getting like no music.
Although Yggdrasil's Altar got 8 songs, so there is hope.
That is true.
You know,
it would be interesting to see what they do with it. Very, very complicated, but I think yes, in terms of the final wow factor, I think that is the pinnacle. And then like maybe something like a Master Chief or something like
Master Chief would be huge.
Master
Chief
those are like the
would be
2 I can only
huge.
think of like that would approach the level
That
of
would
like
be massive
game
You get
news.
Master Chief, you get like Kratos, dude, and everything is done.
Kratos. We're just throwing them all in. Parappa. Let's just get all.
I just want like this. I want the final ultimate marriage of everything. I want Smash Ultimate. By the time it's said and done, I want it to feel like you couldn't add anyone else to make it complete. That means someone from Xbox, Microsoft. That means someone from Sony. That means one big anime character like a Goku or something.
No, only games. Got to be only video games.
I mean,
Huber,
if you're going that route, I mean, then you'd have to probably like get like a League of Legends character in there. Like,
Right.
like you're gonna
There's
go
a slippery slope. And
true.
for better and worse, we already have Microsoft covered with Banjo-Kazooie. I hate to say that because they're a Microsoft character, but they are covered.
I do want to ask. I believe you got. So you said you've gotten some hands-on time with Terry.
Yeah.
I'd like to get some like impressions of Terry because in the presentation, I've played Terry a little bit as well, just for about an hour. But even through the presentation, the way you play as Terry felt like they tried their best to strike a really good balance between honoring fighting game heritage with like command inputs and still having that kind of like the distinct fighting style of Terry, but also with taking in careful consideration of how Smash dynamics work. Because I feel like what I want to make the point is see if you agree or disagree at the time you played. Ken and Ryu, they play like Ken and Ryu. They literally have their movesets, but I don't think they adapted them well enough to work within the Smash how Smash plays, that they feel a little out of place. Whereas the time I spent with Terry, it feels like he's been massaged into this like Smash a little bit better.
Yeah.
That he's with consideration for how other Smash characters work.
I completely agree with that statement. Terry feels much more like a typical Smash character than Ryu or Ken, and I think that's why I'm so much better with him than I am Ryu or Ken. And here's what's funny. I am way better at and know way more about Street Fighter than I, outside of Smash than I do Fatal Fury or King of Fighters. But in Smash, I'm terrible with Ryu and Ken, and I'm pretty decent with Terry. I mean, relatively. And I think he's more mobile. He's scrappier. He gets in and out faster. Like Ryu and Ken, I do like how faithful they are to Street Fighter, but they feel very stationary and methodical.
For sure.
And so with Terry, it's just he's faster and he just feels more like a Smash character to me.
Totally.
But with his own unique mechanics.
Feels like you can get in there and just bruise it up and then get out.
And the command, I mean, obviously Ryu and Ken had the command inputs too, but Terry has even more. And I love the fact that after 100 damage, he's got his super specials. And fortunately, I grew up on fighting games. I can do command inputs. So I pull out that Power Geyser and that Buster Wolf like super fast. And the way he says it, Buster Wolf.
Buster Wolf.
It's so good. And his taunts and
it made me really want Axel from Streets of Rage. So they can just
God.
like flaming fists into each other.
See now you're talking about I want blades and skate. I want them all.
No, it's never ending. It's Smash.
Oh man,
never end. No.
But it isn't just Terry that I'm so hyped about. Like it's funny going into it. I'm like, okay, Terry deserves to be here. I'm not super hyped for him personally, but makes sense.
Yeah.
Then he comes out. Not only do I enjoy playing as him, the stage he brought with him, King of Fighters Stadium, is probably my favorite DLC stage yet. Maybe Mementos, but they're both up there. We got 50 songs. And for me, as you said, Neo Geo was kind of out of reach for me as a kid. So I'm a huge video game music enthusiast, but I had never really heard a lot of SNK music, a little bit of it, but not that much. So I took a couple hours, sat down in my music, went through every song, and I'm
cool.
This music is fantastic. People need to not sleep on this, even if they've never played Fatal Fury. This is amazing.
That's really
and
cool.
Remember, we got 50 tracks.
It was so funny when he said, we identified 50 potential tracks we wanted to ask, and then they said, take them all.
Yeah. And this is still all part, like the Fighter's Pass, when you buy it, you get every character's or every pack has a character, a stage, and some songs. Whoever thought we'd get 50 songs? Like, the value here, the value proposition, especially if you're into the musical side of Smash, is off the charts. Off the charts. So, I think he's a great DLC, and I'm going to keep playing him. And I'm really looking forward to actually really just looking forward to playing on the stage more because I love that it looks like a walk-off, but has that special wall mechanic.
Yes,
They bounce you back
so
for juggles. Like
really
the juggle
cool.
height is perfect. The trajectory.
Really cool.
I almost felt like when I saw it for the first time, I was wondering if this is also maybe partially an experiment for down the line of like changing up Smash gameplay, where it's not just simple knock you off the edge. Like either it's just a new mode where it's like barrier mode or
I thought
something.
the
That'd be
same
cool.
thing.
Interesting.
I thought they were going to do the same thing
Because
on
it changes
other
the
modes.
dynamics. Because like what's the thing? Everyone thinks about like edge guarding and like the off the arena game basically in Smash Brothers. But what if you didn't have those types of stages? You just had like a wall that you got to, and like you can't knock them out till they're above a certain percent. And now you have wall juggles and like stuff like that to consider. Like it kind of radically changes up the dynamic of how you play. Like consider knocking out your opponent in Smash Brothers. I was like, yeah, it's still hit them, get the high percent, and then try and smash them really hard, but you don't have a place to escape to anymore. Like I can't hang off the edge, and like it's not as easy. Like I can't camp you on the edge and knock you off. It's like it's
and now
different.
there's that juggle factor where if you get popped back off the wall, you can get followed up on fairly easily.
Yeah,
and it's an interesting new mechanic, and I love it, and I want to see more like creative DLC stages that kind of mess with the rule set a little bit, or not rule set, but mechanics like that. I mean, I think Spiral Mountain and Yggdrasil's Altar, fun stages, but they don't stand out to me like Mementos and King of Fighters Stadium, and I want stages going forward, hopefully, to continue being more in that.
Speaking of the stage itself, a lot of effort went into not only just like we're talking about the gameplay mechanics, but like putting as much of SNK's history into that stage. Because first glance, it just looks like an open stadium, and then you start seeing all these NPCs appearing in the background. And through the presentation last week, they went over countless NPCs they got in there, the attention to detail, and just how all these different characters are going to appear at any time. And it's just like
so much passion.
Yes.
Yeah.
I was just like, wow. Like you didn't
Mind-blowing
even need to do this, but you are.
I mean, that describes Sakurai's whole career basically with Smash. I mean, his passion is unrivaled in my opinion. His game design sense, his passion. There isn't anyone that I can think of in the industry who is better at his craft than he is right at this very moment, in my opinion, personally. And just the fact, I mean, imagine going back in time and showing your 10-year-old self the character select screen for Ultimate.
Dude.
Imagine that. Just imagine.
Wouldn't believe it.
You know, because
hoax. Who photoshopped
like,
this?
Because this was the days of EGM.
Fan fiction, dude.
Like this is when EGM April Fools everyone with Sonic and
this is-
Tails and Melee.
That's that
like
level.
the fact that what he's been
It
able to
is.
put together is just it can't be overstated in video game terms how special it is.
It's-
it
dude.
really cannot be
It's one
overstated.
of my favorite things in the biz.
I just like
easily.
looking at the character select screen sometimes, just like soaking it all in, and be like, this is insane.
Just sitting there letting that music wash
Yeah.
over you, looking at all the legends.
It's crazy. It's just it really is.
Yeah.
So who's the final character going to be for this season? What do you think?
Oh man.
I mean,
Put your money on Sora? That'd be a good way to go out.
Sora would be a really good way to
and
go out.
timely, dude. Remind's kind of coming up. Like, it's relevant.
Man, I don't want to put my money on him, but I do think he's definitely possible.
Nice.
Man, who else though? Like Gino maybe would be a lot of hype for
Gino,
people.
yeah, because especially
Yeah.
the leak about the Mii fighter outfit with Malo,
Which may or may not be real. The Pack-a-Demon thing.
Again,
Yeah.
we're not going through the Smash rumor
Right.
bill again.
But you
Just
know,
for the just one pick for the final.
I mean, I think it would be like besides the two, I'd love to see either of those two, Gino or Sora. But at the same time, I think a Scorpion Sub-Zero, like one's like the Echo,
All right.
like
All right.
costume or something.
Nice.
Yeah. I
Okay.
think that'd be like a 1-2 whammy of that would be kind of like really iconic, really cool. I mean, obviously like no fatalities, but like at the same time, like you just see like, Ryu coming out, like doing a fight in like the new Smash trailer, and like, okay, is it a Capcom character? You just hear, get over here, and like, that reaction.
Like MK versus DC was teen. Like, there were no fatalities. So I totally think Ed Boon would be down for this.
Like you just see Ryu walk out, he gets hit by Scorpion, but then you see Ken show up, and then Sub-Zero. It's just like, okay, here we go.
Yeah, that would be pretty
do
insane.
this.
That would be insane. There are so many ways.
I know. Let's go.
I know.
Yeah, we do. Okay, yeah.
Next,
Well, hey, probably within a month we'll know the answer to this. But yeah,
Keeley
Keeley holds all the keys to the
Yes.
kingdom from here.
will help us out.
Woo! Smash Brothers. Good stuff. Something also came out recently, a little bit before Terry, at the end of last month, just in time for Halloween. The third installment of Luigi's Mansion dropped. And so here at Easy Allies, Bloodworth got to do the review of it. So you've seen all of Bloodworth's thoughts on it. We did a mini group stream where for 2 hours, a few of us played through part of the campaign, the early campaign co-op, which is a Guigi and Luigi tag team, which is kind of cool. On our group stream this week, we did Scare Scraper, 5-level and 10-level version of it. All of us, like almost all of us, playing it together. Intense multiplayer. Yeah. I'm kind of impressed by the multiplayer offerings for this game. I understand Luigi was in the remake of Luigi's Mansion, so it's not completely brand new, but the co-op, like just being able to play co-op and the amount of multiplayer offering in this
for sure
is kind of appealing to me.
Yeah. Yeah. I thought the 10 Scare Scraper thing was really cool. We beat it.
Yeah.
So I don't see any reason to ever play it again, but the fact that it's there and like it took us a couple hours at least to get through all that stuff, I feel like, and I'm glad it's there, but there's no real replay value to it.
That's what I was gonna
but
say.
Again, still the fact that it's there in addition to having the entire game be
a substantial
co-op.
single player experience.
Totally.
Yeah. I think what was the biggest disappointment of the night was from Kyle Bossman. When we beat it, he goes, "That's it," because there's like no special like cutscene, no real reward. Right. Yeah, a little. I mean, I think in our stream earlier today, you were saying like the good old days of Nintendo doing 100% collections or stuff,
like actual
good,
good rewards, not crappy ones. Like actual ones that you want to, like Majora's Mask is what the example we were giving.
Yes.
Like I think if the 10-floor boss had been different than the 5-floor boss, that would have been a huge that alone would have.
Yeah, because I was expecting two bosses. I was expecting a halfway point boss and then that, and it was like my big. I had a fantastic time playing with all of you, but the biggest, if I had to leverage one big complaint against it, is the procedural nature. Everything kind of felt samey after a while. I mean, they tried to give you certain different objectives. They throw some mechanics that I haven't finished the single player campaign, so I don't know if they're in there beyond floor 7. But there's some things I hadn't seen yet, like the Ghost Spectre stuff and the sirens. Like there's all these weird. I think Blood was saying some of it was unique to that, but they did some interesting new stuff. But at the same time, the floor designs felt a little too samey to me.
Well, and that's kind of what happens, unfortunately, with procedural generation. And I'm personally not a fan of that. I get it. Game dev is hard. It's hard. It's time consuming. It's dense. And it takes a lot longer to handcraft levels, but I'll wait longer.
Me too.
I'd rather wait longer for handcrafted levels. Like it's the difference between SteamWorld Dig 1 and Dig 2. Dig 2 is a brilliant game, and it absolutely shines a light on why handcrafted levels are so much more fun than procedural generation. Oh, Dig 2?
Love them both.
It's fantastic,
SteamWorld Dig 2 is really good. Yes.
Really good.
So good.
Speaking of like more handcrafted environments, the single player mode of the game, just hit floor 7.
Okay.
It's more like the garden is its nickname. It's the most unique looking environment.
I played that at E3 at PAX, I think, PAX West.
So that's before that was the E3 demo area, but like the full version of it, like the night environment and stuff like that.
Yeah.
The medieval theme, like medieval times, sort of. But like I'm enjoying these different themes on the floors. Like I'm actually very impressed with how good this game looks.
It is astounding.
So it's weird.
Yeah.
Both of us have played it at preview events, and for some reason it just didn't hit me how good it looked until I had the final version playing on my Switch Lite. So I'm playing it on Switch Lite. That small screen just looks so good. I was like, okay, it does look really good.
It really, it's the animation is off the chart. This is one of Nintendo's best looking games of all time. Like, no doubt. The animation is off the charts. The lighting effects.
The lighting.
Yes.
The lighting.
So cool.
And the interactivity of all the background objects. And they have a foreground and back.
I cannot believe how much stuff you can interact with. Like, I'm just spending so much. So when Blood told me how long it was supposed to take to beat the game and how long he took, he said, obviously it could take longer if you're really slow. I feel like I'm playing it as slow as possible because I'm going up to everything. Like, can I suck this in? Like, I want to. He gave me a word of advice. Said, stop worrying about trying to find all the secrets because you're going to be able to find them easier later on. Like, don't waste your time with that. Like, just keep going through at a good pace, and don't bog yourself down.
Well, and as I understand it, from what I've heard, I don't know what it actually is, no spoilers, but I have heard that the reward for getting all the gems is not worth it.
Blood said it's not good.
Okay.
That's all I remember. Same thing.
Yeah.
Like, like the same thing with finding all the booze. Like, he said, like, if you're having fun with it, keep doing it, but, don't expect anything earth-shattering at the end. But, like, I am having fun. Like, some of the gem puzzle stuff that I do become aware of, love it. Like, love the secrets. Yeah, I'm loving the puzzles that I'm coming across. I love the Luigi dynamic. Even playing it solo, going between them, like, no problem, like, no issues whatsoever. So far.
I cannot wait to try this co-op with my wife. She and I both want to do it. She's a big fan of Halloween and scary, spooky stuff, and she had never played Luigi's Mansion. So I'm like, you and I have to play this co-op. You are going to love this game. Sick. So we haven't gotten around to it yet, but she's excited to try it, and I can't wait to play this game co-op with her because it's perfect for that.
It's fun because like even like the addition of like both of you being able to suck up the same ghost and like tag team slam it and stuff. It's like such a good feeling. But like even like the bosses I've come across, like nothing's overly challenging, but like just the small little gimmicks to them are nice. Like this is vary it up enough that I feel like I'm doing something slightly different enough each time, and like the pacing. There'll be like more traditional type rooms to explore. Then there'll be like multi-room puzzle stuff you got to do. Then like the area I'm now is more like vertical. It's like you're going,
Oh, that's
I'm liking. The thing hasn't hit me yet. That I've seen the one small criticism that I haven't like agree with just yet because I haven't finished it. Is something about like the themes like the themes being like the floors feeling very isolated. Then nothing carries over between floors in terms of like a puzzle element or something like that. There are some stairwells where there is stuff like that, but like it's not like X floor. You need to go back to this floor to like. I mean, I guess that's not entirely true. There's like once you've unlocked all the basic functions, that's no longer true. Like you don't have to like really backtrack. I feel like, and. Yeah, I don't know if that's really been a complaint for me. I'm not feeling that yet.
Well, that was Andre did the review for us for Game Explain, and Andre, if you don't know, he is a super hardcore Luigi's Mansion fan. He just adores the first game, and so naturally he reviewed 3, and he actually had that exact complaint. And the other complaint he had, the other main complaint he had that said kind of dragged it down for him, was that the combat got too easy. He said the slam move is so OP, it makes combat brain dead, as opposed to the first game where you had to move the stick in relation to where you are in the room, and it isn't just sucking up ghosts and directly doing that with Poltergust, like the slam move. And I love the slam move when I played the game at various shows. I think it makes Luigi look badass in a way he never has before. I think it's cool, but I have to say, looking at it in hindsight, watching Andre's review, the combat, I mean, when you slam ghosts into each other, it's so easy. They take so much damage.
The fact that, and you can slam other ghosts and affect them and take off their health and stuff like that, you always want, like, I always am going for that. I'm always like, let me aim it over here, hit them all. Yeah, like, as I said, like, nothing's been too challenging. But I guess it's because I don't remember. I'm trying to remember Dark Moon's, like, how it felt. It's been a while. But I played 12 Dark Moon, and I remember loved the secrets, but also like the variety because you travel between different hotels in that one, and each one's kind of like a mission. Slightly different structure, but like I never really played a lot of one. So I don't remember. I don't have that memory about it, so I don't have that comparison to draw upon. But like I definitely believe it. I can believe that like they had a like more intricate system for catching ghosts. It felt like it took a little bit more effort. But I also wonder, was like the original Luigi's Mansion maybe a little bit smaller in scale? I don't know.
Oh, it's certainly. I mean, being a GameCube launch title, it certainly is much smaller in scale.
Just looking at the mansion, it's like maybe.
Oh yeah, no, it's definitely. I mean, you can get through that
game
in
5 hours.
It's not super huge. And that's not to say that Nintendo isn't constantly refining the formula, but it does seem like combat's maybe a little too, not simple, but just too, easy, I guess. You could just rely on that slam move. Again, this is based on Andre's review. Yeah. But that was his main complaint about it.
Sure. I'm okay with that, but only, like, I love Mario so much because the mainline stuff is challenging, but then if you want, you can go for that additional optional stuff that can be so challenging.
Exactly.
And I love that that's an option.
That
So it'd be cool.
Yeah.
Exactly. It'd be cool if there were optional floors maybe in Luigi's Mansion.
There's no
like,
difficulty setting for this game. I mean,
No,
not at the start.
I don't think
I was
there
going to say,
is.
like, maybe if you beat it, they were already, like, equivalent like of a hero master
Right.
mode
yeah, I
where...
just wish there were optional ghosts or
No, and I like.
something.
Nah.
I totally hear that because I am that person. Like platformers are my bread and butter, so I make it a point to 100% every 3D, 2D Mario game do all the hardest stuff. And this is a totally separate conversation, but that's why Odyssey's post game didn't land with me. I hated it because it didn't
There wasn't-
crescendo
yeah,
into anything.
Yeah.
Even the
It's
500 moon final level.
It's its weakest point.
I
It's
didn't
its
do
most
it all.
Everything
I
up to
didn't
that
do it
point,
all.
amazing.
Yeah.
Everything up to that point. But
Yeah.
the like compare that to Galaxy 2's post game or Galaxy 1. It's just it doesn't
3D
build
World
up into
Champions
anything.
Road, dude.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, like Champions Row with Toad.
Champions
Nothing even comes
Row.
close to that.
It's so fun.
With Toad,
Get
it's
that
so
challenge.
hard. Oh man,
Yeah, I agree.
Like, that's such a cool reward.
Yeah.
It's like,
because you want to see just how far they're going to take it.
Yeah.
You know, these cool new level designs. Like I like going from world star to flower. Like, oh, we're going in outer space. Oh, here's Rosalina. This is
Yeah.
so cool.
Yeah.
Like, yeah. And it's just and they'd Odyssey had none of that, unfortunately. And I guess Luigi's Mansion, not that it's a traditional Mario game, but it doesn't seem like there's anything beyond getting all the.
Oh
jumps.
yeah, I wonder if they just made a judgment call where they said like this is a game where we think the broadest audience. We want to hit the broadest audience. We want the widest appeal. We don't want to make this too challenging.
Yeah.
You know,
That's
Nintendo
true,
games
that's
really aren't generally made to be that challenging.
Right.
On the whole, there are some that are exceptions there.
Yeah.
But I could definitely once I finish it, I think I could definitely see myself potentially agreeing with that. That it might be on the easier side. For
Although,
sure. Yeah.
At the same time, though, I would say that would be better than them trying to put in like a hero mode or something, because I don't think Nintendo's very good at that. Like Zelda having the hero mode, all it does is remove heart pickups. Like it doesn't change the balance of the game.
Yeah.
It doesn't change how much damage you take or enemies take. I hate that.
Basically, I don't want to get too much into it. Like,
Sure.
I'm not a fan of those either. It's not the type of challenge I'm looking for. Where it's like, it doesn't radically alter the way you play. Just play, play slower, play slower,
Be
and
more
take
careful.
your time. I'm like, that's not what I don't mean to always compare it to games I'm too familiar with, but like scaling difficulty where they add new mechanics, they add additional things you have to consider, where the playstyle changes up a little bit. Like even in Luigi's Mansion, say a ghost boss, it's just suck off their glasses. Now they're vulnerable, but it's now they're resisting you in like a hard mode. That's not working. Actually, you got to think out a new strategy to overcome that.
Yeah,
that would be something even in master mode of The Legend of Zelda. Any one of the Ganon forms having that doesn't work anymore. You just use the magnesis to lift up the lightning thing to hit lightning Ganon or whatever. That's not working anymore. What do you do? Maybe you need a lightning weapon. It's just something
just stuff
to
like
change
that,
it up, or an extra phase of mechanic. That's what I desire more out of a challenge, upgraded challenge. And this hits harder. I'm that's patience. It's not really exhibiting skill.
Well, and Link's Awakening, one of the remake, one of the issues I have with it compared to the original is that bosses take 3 hits. It's stupid. Okay, 4 or 5 being generous, but. I feel maybe I was just a kid, but I feel like bosses were harder and took a little more damage in the original.
I think they did, and I think I honestly felt like some mini bosses were more challenging in the remake than the final bosses of the dungeon. I was like, the dungeon master was I'm starting to notice a trend here, but at the end of the day, everything, the game was never too terribly challenging, but at the same time. The original version definitely felt like it had a little bit more bite.
And it would be so much more fun to be they don't have to change things up like crazy. Just make them faster, do more damage, but still have heart drops.
Speed is such a good change to things. Making things just move a little fast. When you change the pace of things, you have less time to react. You got to it's such an easy thing, but it really is effective. I wish more people would consider changing that versus it does more damage. I'd rather take something go faster than it does more damage.
I want a game that's organically harder, not something just take away hearts. Give me hearts, just make the game a lot harder. I still want to be able to pick up hearts, but it gives you that sense of just oh man, I have to really conserve my life, but it's not so punitive as in, I just took a stupid hit. Now I have to go get a fairy. I know I'm not going to find any hearts. That's not fun. No. Yeah. Anyway, tangent.
Yeah. But having a good time with Luigi's Mansion.
Yeah.
Seems to be, good stuff coming out about it. I mean, there's been some issues here and there, but generally, another, having a good time with it. Yeah.
And maybe the single best looking
Yes.
Nintendo game ever.
So
might be. It's one of them.
That's such a good point because it gives me optimism about not just what's potentially possible on this version of Switch. When the inevitable Pro or 2 comes around, like those games looking so much better. Like I love getting those small tastes of like what Nintendo could be. It's like a guilty pleasure. It's not like the most important thing about a game, but when it happens, especially when it comes to Nintendo, it's just like, it's a treat.
And I was one of the skeptics when the Switch was first announced to be using the Tegra 1, the same thing that would power the Shield. I'm not super into like hardware specs and stuff, but I had a Shield for work purposes, and I'm like, I feel like Nintendo needs to just shoot for slightly higher than this. A few years later, I am constantly blown away by what the Switch is capable of. Yeah, it's crazy.
Astral Chain looked really good.
Yeah, I mean
it's kind of small, like the levels kind of felt small, but still it looked really good.
Yeah, it's nuts.
They just get better playing to their strengths for sure. That's gonna wrap it up for our main discussion segment about Luigi's Mansion. I want to move on to some patron-submitted questions to wrap this up in our patron Q&A. For those of you who would like to submit a question for consideration for a future episode of Friend Code, you need to be a $5 and up patron. The week that we'll be recording, I'll make a post on Patreon calling for your submissions, and they can be related to the topic we're talking about, or just as long as they're related to their Nintendo-themed questions. They'll be considered. And we're starting off with a question I think is right up your alley, Ash.
All right.
This comes from Patron Sigma. Did any of you play Dragon Quest XI on Switch? Do you agree with me that the game is marvelous? Enemy design amazes me. The music is so good. The 2D parts make me smile, and the voice acting is cool, and so on. I wish more people would play this gem.
Nice. So the reason, actually, the very reason I have not played more Luigi's Mansion 3 is because of this game. Nice. Dragon Quest XI-S has me so hard in its thrall right now. It's just one of those games that when I'm not playing it, I'm thinking about it. And it's just because it's one of those games like Bravely Default or Bravely Second or what that it goes out of its way to be convenient to play. And for me, that is king. In any genre, but especially JRPGs, which, usually involve some grinding and some busy work. And, as a kid, that was fine. Yeah. As an adult, I don't have time for that. Let me interface with your game in a way that works with my lifestyle.
Totally.
And Dragon Quest XI,
options. It gives you the options.
You don't have to take them,
exactly,
but you can use them, and I do liberally. And Dragon Quest XI-S is the perfect example of that. And I agree with almost everything. I think it was Sigma, right? Is that the So I agree with almost everything you said, but I think the music is not great.
I haven't heard the S versions, symphonic.
It's way better symphonic, of course, way better. And I like that you have the option to choose between that and the synthesized one to really compare the two. But I've done some research. I don't know a whole lot about Dragon Quest music because I'm not a huge Dragon Quest fan until I guess now. But as I understand it, a lot of the tracks in 11 have already been reused from previous games, and the original tracks that are there aren't great.
For me, it was just the main overworld theme.
Yeah.
Dun, 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 dun,
well, that's why I'm so glad they had
that one track. That one track alone is it. That is it.
Yeah.
If that had been a 10 out of 10 track or like a really good, like I think a Ni no Kuni's open world theme, something along those lines, it's like great, yes, but that one track.
Well, and that's why it's so special that they included the Dragon Quest VIII overworld theme optionally, because that totally changes the game. It's way better. Totally changes the game. And what was I going to say? So also like the music too is that there's so little variety. Like the first town you go to Heliodor, it's like an English castle British type thing. Yeah. Then you go to the next town, and it actually is the one town so far with a unique Hato, the Japanese inspired place. Yeah. But then you go to like a big part of Dragon Quest XI are all these cultures, different cultures, different languages, different walks of life, and yet every single town, no matter what part of the world it's based on, same song. Yeah. At least do different instruments that are relevant to. So the game is fantastic, but I do think the music leaves a lot to be desired, which is unfortunate because I'm a huge fan of game music, but I can't. The game otherwise is just like 10 out of 10 material. Like it's absolutely in my game of the year discussions. Sick. No doubt.
For me, I feel guilty not playing yet Dragon Quest XI-S because I know I played the PC version last year through the end of the first arc, played about 30-ish, 25, 30-ish hours there, and recognize it's a really good game. I really could keep playing this, but I have so much else to play. I think this might be a little selfish, but I would absolutely jump on buying it. I would have jumped on buying this immediately, and will still buy it immediately if this were to happen with an update of some kind. I just don't want to have to play through the first 30 hours again.
I mean, that makes sense.
A save. I understand none of this content so far has been announced for anything other than the Switch version. All these extra, the S version, extra content, enhanced content is only in that version, not coming to any others. But say down the line they announce a patch, hey, the other versions are getting patched, and as a bonus, we're doing cross save. So hey, if you have that PC or PS4 slave, you can bring over Switch. I will immediately jump on that and resume and start playing on the Switch version because, as you said, being able to play it anywhere and stuff, I could see myself picking up playing it at parts and stuff like that. It's just sitting on my PC when I have so much else I can be playing at my computer. It's
no, for sure, I get it. And not only do you want to not replay the first 30 hours, but Dragon Quest XI is. I mean, I haven't obviously finished it. I'm trying to not to look at spoilers and stuff, but it's monumentally long.
Yeah.
I don't know when the first act starts. I for the record, I just finished the Sniffelheim
I'm going
stuff.
by other people's terminology.
Yeah. So
they told me.
I just finished the Sniffelheim stuff. So I don't know if I'm past Act 1 or not, but this game is massive, and you don't want to add 30 hours that you've already played on top of that playtime. I get that.
Well, it's the thing I want to try out the most. If I had a way to just try the game, basically going to the sprite based 2D mode. Playing the feature that was originally in the 3DS Japanese only version, sort of that kind of the one screen was retro, the other was modern. I would like to play it in the 60-bit sprite mode.
Was telling me that for those it's just specific sections.
So it's
the whole game
so I never really caught on to that. I'm glad that was clarified. I had heard some things that was true, knowing it is, but still I'd like to try out those segments and stuff. But looks. Yeah.
And the fact that it even exists, it can't be understated that they built the same game in a completely different context, twice basically, 3D and 2D. I mean, I think the way it's implemented in the game is a little bit disappointing, just because if you do want to play it, sometimes you have to backtrack to the last major story point, and I'm not going to backtrack, first of all, and second of all, the random encounter rate's super high, and that's even in a stark contrast to the 3D version, because there are no random encounters. You can choose when to fight. Yeah. And I'm not saying random encounters are always bad, but the encounter rate in the 2D mode is too high for me.
Gotcha.
And and so I love that it's in the game, but I have to say I've barely even thought about playing in 2D mode. What I do like about that though is ticking. Is it Tickington? How do you say it? The 2D village where you go. And maybe it wasn't an S, but I think it's called Tickington. But there's a whole bunch of side quests where you go to this 2D. It's only 2D. This village, and you revisit the world, certain locations in every previous Dragon Quest game. And those are forced 2D, so you still get the experience.
So cool.
Yeah, so you still get the experience if you don't want to switch to it. Yeah, I think it's called Tickington.
So much.
It just took me so long to get through Dragon Quest XI that by the time S came out, I was like, dude, I can't right now. I just got through it.
Yeah.
With Persona,
same thing. I was gonna say
Persona. I'm kind of the opposite, where I beat that pretty quickly, and then now it's seems like a really long wait for Royal. So I'm more ready to go back into that when it comes out. Whereas I'm way more attached to Dragon Quest than Persona. But because of
came
the
out too soon,
I'm not ready to dip back into S. Whereas Persona 5 Royal,
I still think 5 Royal's coming out it still seems like too much of too tall of an order.
I don't know.
To
play it again, and
I agree.
Adding more stuff to us.
I just want to feel the vibes, man.
I know some people
want to
eat
make
it up.
Some coffee.
Some people love that. They only play so many games, and maybe Persona is their favorite series, and they can't get enough Persona. I completely understand and respect that. But for me, playing through it once was enough. I don't need to go through it again, even with extra stuff.
I've kind of been scared off of. I love Persona 4, love it, but I've kind of been scared off of 5 just because of the repeat criticisms I hear about how slow it is to get off the ground and how dense the first parts of the game are. And again, I don't just have 90 to 100 hours lying around to give to any game. Dragon Quest has already taken me weeks to get to where I am. Yeah. So I have to really think about what games, long games, I'm going to give my time to while I'm playing other short games.
Definitely.
So, yeah.
You can only pick so many.
Exactly.
For sure, yeah.
And like I said, though, P4, fantastic. So maybe just based on that alone, I should give P5 a shot. But, yeah.
I've only finished P4 Golden and P5.
Yeah.
And 5 is so good.
Nice.
It's
nice.
so good.
Nice.
But 100 hours.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah.
Whenever you have 100 spare hours to kill, whenever that'll happen.
Yeah, because that happens in adult life all the time, right? Yeah.
Just take it out. Mark it on the calendar. You got it.
Yeah.
Outer Worlds, dude. Let's go. Let's go with that trends. Shorter games, please.
Thank you. Shorter games. I'm glad open world games.
Shorter
are out
games
there for
where if you want to get more out of it, it offers like way more hours if you want to get out of it.
Right.
Like, sorry to backpedal onto Persona 5 stuff. That was my biggest complaint. I wish the game was shorter with but none of the stuff was cut.
Fair.
Just a lot of the stuff was like optional. Fair if you really wanted to dive into like maybe some of those like I'm gonna get the
social links.
The what were the dungeons like called again?
Mementos.
No, not the main
Memory palaces.
Yeah.
Nice.
Some of those were optional, like a side character, like you didn't have to interact with, but if you did, you got another. Like anyway, I don't want to like anger too many Persona fans there with that, but we got the next question comes from Alexander Ziranov. Greetings, allies, and Ash. While watching Blood's review of Luigi's Mansion 3, I was thinking that maybe I should play this game since lots of the stuff we were showing and talking about seemed fun. But then Bloodworth described the game's controls and I immediately crossed this game off my to-play list because there's simply no chance that I will enjoy this type of game with this control scheme. This isn't the first time where first-party Switch games have an odd control scheme with no way to change it. Even the Switch itself doesn't have any customization options, while on PlayStation and Xbox, you can remap every controller button in the system settings. And I simply don't understand why Nintendo is so stubborn and willing to lose potential customers just to force others to play a certain way. In your opinion, what needs to happen to convince Nintendo to give gamers a choice instead of leaving them to deal with their grand vision of playing a game?
That's a really well put question. That's so true. I agree with a lot of what you said. Really quick for the specific Luigi's Mansion 3 part, I agree. I don't think for me, it's nowhere near severe as I'm not going to play this game, but I definitely got my left and right mixed up a few times trying to do the Poltergust. And it's confusing, and it does take me out of it a bit, but I still think the game's worth playing. In general, though, Nintendo has a problem with this. The fact that you can't customize the controls in the NES and SNES apps on Switch blows my mind. How?
Yeah, because we're like obviously just even today playing Majora's Mask Wii U, you go into the virtual console settings, you can remap the buttons on that for virtual console stuff. Like they have shown they can easily do it even for older games. But like this is I agree. It's a
basic feature, the most basic of basic,
and by sheer luck, I feel like it hasn't rubbed off the wrong way on me. It came very close and was almost problematic in Breath of the Wild with the jump and run button because I didn't like you were able to flip them. They were like the top button and the bottom button, like B and X, I believe. X, Y, A, B. So A and X, I guess, on the Nintendo controller. But you were able to flip them, and it saved my life. I was like, okay, I can I can work with this. But I've seen a lot of people who want to get into Nintendo games, but they come from a different background. They come from either Microsoft, Sony, or even mostly PC background, where they're used to like the world's the sky's the limit with customization. And they're being forced to play games the way Nintendo's telling them to play, and they're like, I'm sorry, I can't deal with this. If you would just let me remap this, I'd be all on board. But like, I'm not going to play with this control scheme, and it feels like back in the day, they were more flexible almost with some of them. Maybe I'm just remembering third-party options, but as we've gone through the newer stuff, they seem to be more resistant to allowing you to play your way versus we have an intended way for you to play these games.
Yeah, I 100% agree. And not only that, another thing that they tend not to do that other developers do often is let you adjust individual sound levels between music, sound effects, and voices. That should be standard in Nintendo games. Like
so basic.
Oh yeah, like I'm not even like being dramatic when I say that Mario Kart 8 Deluxe, with the way the sound effects drown out the music, really hurts the experience for me. It's a great game. Yeah. Let me hear that fantastic live soundtrack. I don't want to hear motors, man.
Yeah.
Funny quick anecdote, back in the game trailers days, this was like Nintendo was notorious for this because reviews, we used to always do capture with no music playing so that it made it easier for sound ups and smoother cuts. And every time I got a Nintendo game, it's like, well, good luck. You're going to have the music. You can't turn the music off. Yeah. Well, it was also kind of a blessing for like me as a player because, I don't have to go back and replay parts with the music on now so I can fully appreciate them. But like I felt so bad for the editor because we had this very specific style, and they had to like force that to work with like a bed music on top of like in-game music. It was like, oh, that's a nightmare.
Well, for better and worse, Nintendo is kind of like the Disney of the game industry. And Disney is, similarly, they want you to consume their entertainment the way they want you to do it. Now it's Disney Plus. They're taking that off of Netflix, and I get it. Business, money, totally get it. But, you're interfacing with Disney stuff the way they want you to. And Nintendo is kind of, it's not the exact same thing, but Nintendo is just that stubbornness. That just, and that kind of goes into how Nintendo just isn't, they've never been really great at accessibility in general. Like you play games like Uncharted and Horizon, and you see all these fantastic accessibility options built into the options menu. For people colorblindness, and Nintendo has never. Exactly. Everything. And they do so well at that. And Nintendo hasn't even, as far as I can tell and remember, they don't.
No,
ever.
This actually like made headlines back during the Wii days. Motion controls, like obviously there were the usual rabble. I was part of that and said like, they suck, motion controls, get out of here. But there are generally people who like, I can't play your games anymore. Yeah. Like, where's a normal option or where's something I can play? And like, I'm excluded now. I can't play your games because you won't give me a different option, which is the more genuine like real complaint that like they should be listening to. And we see like what Xbox does with accessibility and stuff, like the controller, what was it, Able Gamers, and like there's like nothing like that from like Nintendo. I mean, they're trying to innovate in ways like different ways to control games for like they're thinking about the user experience in terms of like immersion, stuff like that, but they're not thinking always about accessibility. It feels like that is despite what they say, it's not what they always do. Like they preach, we're trying to get everyone to play our games, but it's like what you're doing isn't really encouraging that.
Yeah. Sometimes I feel bad though, because it's like I don't want to ask too much of developers ever.
Sure.
And but like I right now feel like when a game doesn't have a ton of accessibility and options like that, it feels outdated or wrong. Like I feel like it's just as we move into 2020, like that stuff has become the standard. Like every game should have so many options to mess with colors and font sizes and subtitles and sensitivities and right-handed or left-handed. Like that stuff should be standard. But at the same time, I assume that takes money to do.
Of course. There's always that.
There's always that angle. There's so many sides to all this, but sometimes I do feel bad for wanting that.
No,
but at the same, but then there's a part of me that feels like, well, we're entering a time now where like that stuff should be standard.
Yeah. I mean, Iwata put it best. He said games are for everyone. So games should really be inclusive of everyone.
That's where I always stand with like difficulty we were talking about earlier, and that's where I stand with difficulty too, is like just give me the option.
Yeah.
Every game doesn't need to be Sekiro or as easy as Luigi's Mansion 3. Yeah. It's like let me kind of tune it the way I want, or like let me have a hard mode. And
it's so interesting because like a really interesting kind of like dichotomy here is like Sakurai trying to like do everything with Smash Brothers, and that game having so much customization, even for control settings, where you could save your own controller settings to a profile name.
Yeah.
But then at the same time, he was also responsible for Kid Icarus Uprising, which I recognize it's a fantastic game, but he absolutely was adamant about you need to play it this
Creators'
way.
intent,
It was absolutely creators' intent.
Yeah.
But there were just as many people saying, "Hey, you have this like 3DS Pro thing now. Like, why can't I use that?" Or he's like, "No, you need to play it this way." So like that was before maybe his views have changed and stuff. But like there is a history. No matter who you are at Nintendo, there's been a history of some of that going on there. But at the same time, this example also shows that there might be some willingness to change or, at least explore that option because this most recent game, Ultimate, has that ability to let you configure your controller however the heck you want. You know?
I mean, and I totally get, again, game development's hard, and I don't want to ask too much of them either. At the same time, I do feel like including button mapping in your NES and SNES emulators, that is just...
Like,
you're not asking too
much.
much.
You're not asking for...
That's nothing.
There's
we're not
no
asking for Mega Man Legends 3 here.
Exactly.
There's
no excuse.
Yeah, that's... on that level, that's inexcusable. There's no defense of that.
I don't know
whatsoever.
I just don't know how they get the message that they need to start. I don't know how that
get
happens.
it. Yeah, totally agree. And like in defense of like Kid Icarus Uprising, like might not have been the easiest ask to like make this a traditional
On
control
a 3DS.
scheme. Yeah. It's like that goes. You were saying like that might be a big ask. And,
Right.
Yeah. But yeah.
Great question.
Yeah, very good question. Thank you for that. Our next question comes from Steven. Hey, allies, and hello, Ash.
Hello.
Luigi's Mansion 3 is a fun game, and I'm loving it. I love playing with Luigi and seeing his personality bleed through as he goes through the hotel. Seeing him in all these haunted, dark, and creepy areas got me thinking, bear with me, could Luigi ever get DLC or a game where he's not in a spooky setting, but rather visit other locations from the Mario franchise, like the place, they mean Delfino Island, or Bowser's Castle? I would love to see Nintendo mix things up and possibly have Luigi take on other things besides just catching ghosts. Nice. Would this be something you'd be interested in seeing, or do you just want more of the same with Luigi's Mansion? Love and respect.
Yeah, definitely. I want to see more things.
Yeah.
You know what I'd love to see is in the next Mario game, Super Mario Brothers, Mario gets taken out of action for a bit.
Mm-hmm.
You don't like one of the best kept secrets in the industry. You don't know. No one knows. Like you boot up this game and it opens with Mario getting beat. And then you have to start as Luigi. And it's like Luigi trying to rescue Mario for a bit. And then, you unlock Mario. And maybe it's about like getting the band back together again. You're rescuing Peach and Toad and everyone. But like letting Luigi like take the reins, having a Luigi segment, a dedicated Luigi part of the next main line Super Mario game.
So like the Mario version of the World of Ruin from FF6.
Sure.
Because you switch from Terra to Celis,
yeah,
and now
going around.
So Bowser gets smart eventually, sets up a really easy trap where Mario breaks his leg, and now he can't jump anymore.
Yeah.
So he's in a cast. He's just chilling there, like everyone's signing it. Luigi signs it, and Mario just comes up and goes like, "Luigi, you have to carry on." And it's like, okay.
And I know in like 3D World you can be like a bunch of different people, and like of course you can Luigi can be the star of that game if you just go through as Luigi. But I mean like a dedicated part, like you have to play as Luigi in this part, or
I mean, I'm being facetious, of course, when I say this, but we did kind of already get this with Mario's Missing. Not a good game, of course, but it is Luigi is the hero, and we actually also got this, at least to the patron's question about DLC. We literally have this in the form of New Super Luigi U. I know it's not exactly the kind of thing we want, but that is DLC that is completely focused on Luigi, and you cannot play as Mario in those levels. So we do kind of have that already, but I agree. We need a proper Luigi. I guess I would also argue that Nintendo did a really good job of making the Mario and Luigi series. Like Luigi feels like he is an equal billing with Mario in those games. Yeah. So it's not quite what you're talking about, of course, but I think that is a co-starring role for him.
Just a little more love in a mainline Mario game. I think
absolutely.
Even the odds for Luigi.
Just that excitement, Huber, when you open like Odyssey 2 or whatever they call the next 3D Mario, and you hit start after you hit the opening stuff, and then it goes to your file select, and then it says who do you want to play as, like Super Mario 2 style. It just brings up the character select, and it's like Mario.
You
Luigi.
click Mario though, and the screen like fades to black, and all of a sudden it goes up. And Mario's out of action, dude. He's out of action.
Oh man, this is like I can see. I'm seeing some sort of like MGS2 style bait and switch, but for Mario. Yeah.
Luigi codec calls.
Yeah. I know. I would love to see Luigi in more starring roles. I love Luigi's great.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Our last quick question here comes from. Did I have two Stevens? This might be the same Steven. I did a bad job here. The last question says -Steven S. So this might be a follow-up. Sorry, no. This is a question from Morgan Mahala. I'm sorry. I didn't put a space here. I confused myself. So our last question from Morgan Mahala. With Luigi's continued success and the success of Captain Toad, could you envision a successful Princess Peach standalone title? What would your hopes for such a game be?
Well, this is a big answer. So, first of all, we already have that game.
Yeah,
that game came out on the DS. It was called
Yes.
Super Princess Peach. I think it was 2009 or something, 8. I don't know.
I'm trying to remember what it came out. I don't remember the year.
So it was a
but
2D
yeah.
platformer starring Peach. She had a parasol named Perry, and her main mechanics, her main way of fighting enemies was her emotions. That's a problem. So the one game Peach gets a starring role in. Yeah. So it's literally you tap the touchscreen and she'd get angry or she'd start crying because Princess Peach, women. I don't know. What a horrible. It was everything was just ill conceived about that whole mechanic.
That's why I've forgotten it. Struck it from my memory.
Oh yeah,
I've never even heard
literally
of this game,
Peach gets one
it
starring
was-
role and her main weapon is her emotions.
Yeah.
Like that is just.
It's like someone was either like completely tone deafened or like they were just like not aware of what they were meant. It's like, oh, these are interesting gameplay mechanics. Do you get the larger message you're sending though? Oh, whoops. Like no one stopped them and said like, take a step back.
Yeah.
Think about this, but for sure.
Yeah, I mean that's just levels of how the hell did this get past all the people needed to get past, like almost to the level of that that white PSP ad. Like it's almost not quite to that level, but it's like halfway there. It's like how did you got
Because you always expect like there's multiple layers of things have to go through. It's like really no one caught this. I mean, different than like an on the spot thing, like Anuma's answer to like why you couldn't play as Zelda in Breath of the Wild. Like on the moment, like you get because what would Link be doing? It's like shit,
but it's an on the spot answer, so you can kind of give them that.
Come back again and try that over. But like this was like. Yeah, it went through how many countless people there, and it still came out. It's so weird because, like, the first time, if I'm correct, Super Mario Bros. 2, USA, playable Peach.
Right.
Like, for me, it was, like, the most badass character.
Her floating.
Everyone wanted to play as her. It's like, forget Mario, Luigi, they suck.
Dude, Luigi's float was pretty good, though,
Luigi was okay, but I was like, yo, Peach, let's go. Like,
Yeah.
I'm doing the high jumps, I'm floating, like, let's go.
I want a Platinum Games action title starring Peach. Let's do it. Platinum Games, after they're done with Bayonetta 3, let's get Super Princess Peach but completely redone.
I'm trying to think, like, what a game about Princess Peach would be, because you have to think, like, what does Princess Peach do? She, like, rules the Mushroom Kingdom, so would it be, like, a Mushroom Kingdom management game with her?
Yeah. I mean, honestly, I like an idea, like an offshoot of the idea that you guys have been saying. Take Mario out of action, not just make the game about saving Mario, because that's kind of its own issue.
Yeah.
Mario, maybe he can't be saved for some reason. Maybe he's in some deep sleep. Yeah. Make Peach have to save her own kingdom, not just save Mario.
Yeah,
the whole kingdom.
Save it all.
It's all on her. I love that idea.
I want that, but I just want like a fellowship style Mario game.
Sure,
where you're Luigi, where you're Peach.
That's
I understand that.
That makes sense.
But like a Peach game, I don't know.
I mean, the going off the concept of what happens with her post ending in Mario Odyssey, the fact that she wants to travel and see, like
I do love that.
Make like an Indiana
Pokemon
Jones
Snap or something, but like Mario Snap, dude.
like
Princess
an archaeology
Peach Snap.
game with her or something
Yeah.
like Captain Toad, like that, like same idea where it's like Captain Toad's joining her. She wants to go on an adventure to like she got like in a she came across a map or something, like we're going on an adventure to, and like it's like a mixture of like Indiana Jones meets like this like archaeological like dig stuff with like a little bit of Captain Toad puzzle stuff, and big 3D adventure game, and it's not like necessarily just platforming, it's like adventure. It's like, oh, here we go, like this could be really cool.
That'd be awesome. Even if they did like a DLC episode of Odyssey where it's Peach traveling to all the different kingdoms, but new areas that we never saw before, and it's just the same gameplay as Odyssey. She's just a platforming star, and I think that could be cool. And she'd have her own little things they could do.
Who's in charge of the Mushroom Kingdom when she's gone? Like Toad or something?
Or Toadsworth.
Toadsworth,
yeah, the steward of the Mushroom Kingdom.
Yeah. I was going to say Daisy, but she's busy in
Mushroom Kingdom.
So.
I knew it. Yes, I knew it was going
Queen.
with it.
Oh, so good. Oh, man. But I want to see this happen. I think that'd be great.
Yeah, I understand why not. I mean, throw Daisy and them together and stuff and be like, this is good. I mean, yeah, I think it should not be as simple as just like, let's make a Mario style platformer with them.
Thing, not living in the shadow of Nintendo or Mario,
and not just a sports game either.
Yes,
like
not
Toad's
just that.
Treasure Tracker is so cool because it's its own thing. Like
Toad broke
free,
and Toadette, and it's like it's like here you go.
Yeah.
Like,
and Toadette always felt like a supporting character, but like Toad's Treasure Tracker is like, all right, dude, starring role here.
Yeah,
its own thing. Luigi's Mansion, same kind of thing, where it's like giving Luigi his own unique set of skills, or his own unique thing to do,
Yeah, and I mean, I gotta say, like, they don't actually owe us this, but Nintendo totally owes us this, because one of the few times they have put a female character in a starring role in a platformer was Donkey Kong Country 3, and it was ruined by Kiddy Kong. So Dixie deserved better. Kiddy Kong ruined that game, and now they got to make right by doing another woman-led platforming.
Which one of you just said like something about like platinum style combat or something? With
I was completely. I just want to see Peach do crazy finishing moves.
Up you right now.
All right.
I want a Sekiro style Mario game. Like all the enemies are Mario Universe games starring Peach. Or like a Goomba's deadly and stuff. Like just want like a monster Goomba, and you gotta like do methodical combat as Peach against him and defeat it. And then like you got like Koopa, different types of Koopas and stuff that come. Koopa Troopas, Paratroopers are all like deadly.
Yeah.
Like
is it post-apocalyptic? Like the whole Mushroom Kingdom is destroyed.
They've overrun. Like Mario got taken out.
Everyone's
Peach was out of town on an archaeological event. Everyone was just gone.
Yeah.
And they the basically plot of the episode of Missing Link from the Zelda cartoon. The henchmen throw Ganon away, so the henchmen throw Bowser. Like, Bowser, you suck.
Nice.
You're not. I know you hate this, Huber, but like they toss Bowser into a jail cell. They march themselves into the Mushroom Kingdom, conquer it with a competent plan, and then Peach comes back and it's like, F this. I'm taking back my kingdom. Here we go. But it's like ruined and stuff, so it's like treacherous.
I mean, no.
Sign me up, dude.
I know, no. The only thing that the only way I think I could make that better is if the big twist at the end is that the guy who took over the kingdom through Bowser in jail is Wart. It's the only way to make that.
Dude, I thought you were gonna say Mario.
That would be okay. I like
Punished
that.
Mario.
Punished Mario. Venom Mario. I love it. But no, I still want to see Wart come back. And the fact that he didn't in Mario & Luigi Dream Team is like the biggest creative.
I don't even know who this character is.
Oh, he's the final boss of Mario 2 USA.
Subcon villain.
Subcon. So he's like an honorary Mario character.
Mario 2, my cousin, anytime he would come over, had to beat Mario 2. I couldn't do it.
Oh yeah, okay.
He's like, yo, can
you
it's
for
tough.
me, it's like the most challenging of the original three. But
Yeah.
I was gonna make another reference of who Wart was from, but I also realized he didn't play that game either. Link's Awakening. I was like, you want to get that either.
Yeah.
But, well, I think that's gonna wrap it up for this episode. Some good conversation there. Some good questions from all you. Thank you so much for everyone who submitted a question for consideration, and those of you who made your questions got on here. Also, if you are a $5 member supporter of Easy Allies, you get a lot of our shows early as part of our early access tier. This show now goes up, if you haven't noticed, it goes up on Fridays for everyone else. Generally try to record these on Tuesdays, but there's sometimes I have to record them on Wednesdays. It's been like back and forth. They're supposed to go up on Wednesdays for patrons, but there's sometimes it goes up Thursday morning. So this will be one of the ones where it didn't hit Wednesday. I apologize. But hey, I really want to hit that Friday public release because I know people like that day before the weekend drops. I think it's a good spot for us. But hey, if enough of you don't like that and want us to go back to the old release schedule, just let me know. You know, I'm always open to your feedback and suggestions. But thank you, both of you, for staying here nice and late on a Wednesday evening.
Thank you. As always, I'm super happy to be here. And I do want to say really quick, I'm going to be on Kind of Funny tomorrow.
Oh!
So if any of you guys are... Yeah, if you guys are any Kind of Funny Games fans,
nice.
Check us out tomorrow. We're going to be doing a few things. So they very graciously invited me. So I'm living... I got... Easy Allies today, Kind of Funny tomorrow.
Ash Paulsen World Tour right here.
I got it made. It's great. So no, as always, thank you guys always for having me here. I'm down anytime.
Awesome.
Love it.
Dude, talk to Tim Geddes about what he would want from a Peach game.
Okay.
Tim Geddes.
All right. Yeah. I love Tim. He's just fantastic. Okay, I'll do that.
Hell yeah.
Nice.
Very good stuff.
Cool.
Excited to see that. And until next time, everyone else, may the way of the hero lead to the Triforce.